Hello everybody, I'm D-Rex, this is Dogmatica, we're from Pyromaniac.com, this is our video mailbag 3. This question comes from Champ Hayes out of Coconut Grove, Florida. It goes something like this. How do you feel about Donovan McNabb being traded to the Redskins? And how do you feel Kevin Kolb will do in Philly? It's a pretty big trade. I think it's a good question. What are your thoughts?
First of all, love the name, Champ Hayes. It's a great name. You should be a professional wrestler or something.
Yeah, the champ.
Anyway, first of all, let's get to McNabb. We'll get to Kolb in a second. McNabb, it was time to part ways. Philly did the right thing by getting rid of him. I think McNabb is happy to leave. Neither of them could accomplish anything there. McNabb was a great quarterback for him. Couldn't get him over the hump. Philly had the teams to be able to do it. They just couldn't quite get there.
They got to the NFC Championship 5 times.
Yeah,
got to the Super Bowl once, but they never got out of there. So I mean, I agree. You know,
that's all he did. All he could for him, and I just don't think that's the exact right team for him. They just didn't mesh exactly right. You know, such as like the Saints this last year. All right, he is walking into a very precarious situation. He's got a new coach heading up a team that was in slightly disarray last year. He's got Shanahan. That's a great plus for him. Reed is a great coach over there in Philly, but Shanahan always gets the most out of his players. But his offensive line sucks. He is walking into a situation where he's going to get killed. Everybody was worried in Philly about him running that ball because he got hurt every time he did it. Now he's going to be running for his life every single play.
Last year he hurt himself diving for like an extra point or something, diving in for that touchdown, gets hurt for
Absolutely.
3 weeks.
I mean, everybody was getting hurt in Philly, and now, I mean, he's going to the worst offensive line. Second of all, he's going to a team with worse wide receivers, not better. Even though they're younger in Philly, he's going to a team with an completely aged, not even aging anymore, an aged Santana Moss, an aged Joey Galloway they just picked up. Otherwise, they've got guys that haven't proven a thing yet. Devin Thomas
just got injured this week.
Absolutely. A Malcolm Kelly, a Bobby Wade. I mean, you got to be kidding me. He's walking. I mean, they got rid of Antoine Randall, all 5'2" of them, and I mean, they're seriously. I don't know what's McNabb going to do. Thank God he does have a couple of tight ends. I mean, they do have Chris Cooley there, Fred Davis.
Cooley's coming off an injury, but Fred Davis is insane.
I love the both of them. They kind of cancel each other out though with a Brett Selleck. I love a Brett Selleck over in Philly, and so did McNabb.
He had a huge year. He had a bunch of great games last year. So
Absolutely.
I remember he was our featured tight end on Pyromaniac 2, maybe 3 times. So fantasy wise, he was a stud.
Absolutely. So that actually brings us back to Kolb. What is Kolb walking into here? First of all, in last year's off-season camps, McNabb wasn't playing for a couple of them, and they let Kolb take the reins for a little bit. From what I've heard from every single one of those wide receivers, they say that Kolb throws one of the best long balls in the game. Wow. Every single one of them, to a T. So that, I'm sorry to say, but that plays exactly into the hands of somebody like a Deshaun Jackson and a Jeremy Maclin. Those guys going deep. I'm sorry, but that's going to be interesting. You get a Kolb throwing that thing to him instead of McNabb, who's running around for his life, who's got a strong as hell arm, but maybe not the most accurate. Kolb could actually do something for that team.
Well, Kolb is one of he's one of only 4 people in the history of Division I NCAA football to throw for 400 yards and run for 100 in the same game. So this is not some slouch. You know, McNabb is a great athlete. He can run. He can throw. The only thing that McNabb hasn't really been able to do over the course of his career is that dump off pass out of the backfield. He just is terrible at it. But he's great at everything else. But this Kolb guy's an athlete. Maybe people aren't going to be bouncing off of him, you know, like the juggernaut that McNabb is when he runs out of the backfield and decides to tuck it in and run. But Kolb runs for 100 yards. This guy's athletic. So
you look at
that long ball plus the athleticism is huge.
Absolutely. I mean, well, look at what happened when McNabb went out last year. When he got hurt last year and they threw in a Kolb. What did he do? I believe in that first game he threw for almost 400 yards, if not 400 yards. I mean, you got to be kidding me in a situation like that. You throw him into the fire. You got a couple of new guys in there, a rookie with Maclin. You got Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson had an incredible game that game, if I remember correctly.
Had one of his many over 50-yard touchdowns last year. So.
Absolutely.
You know, the one thing to consider though, to play devil's advocate in that regard. if Kolb did have 400 yards, let's be honest. It basically sums up a majority of his throwing yards for his career.
That's true.
To compare these two guys, food for thought. Donovan McNabb has in his career 32,873 passing yards. He's got 216 TDs and 100 interceptions. QB rating of 86.5. Compare that to Kolb, who's quite green in the bleeding green nation. He's got total career passing yards 885. His TDs to interception career is 4 TDs to 7 interceptions, and his QB rating, which whatever, is 68.9. But think about that. McNabb's got over 31,000 yards on him, and he's got over 210 TDs. He's got a lot more interceptions, but his ratio is obviously a lot better. Just food for thought. The guy's Kolb's walking into some seriously big shoes to fill.
Well, you know what? Let's put this in perspective with Kolb. He was the 3rd QB taken, I believe, in the draft a few years ago. The 2 QBs ahead of him, Jamarcus Russell, who just recently got released, and a Brady Quinn, who they just couldn't take anymore in Cleveland, and traded him away to be the backup to Kyle Orton over there in Denver.
And then they drafted Tebow, who's basically probably going to jump him. I mean, Quinn's third. That was 2007, and yeah, Kolb was taking the 36th pick overall. So he's actually probably going to be the best guy out of that whole draft.
Absolutely.
He's got the best opportunity. And, it's kind of fitting that he was taken with the 36th pick, and the Redskins actually traded the 37th pick to the Eagles to get McNabb. They also gave a third or a fourth round conditional pick in the 2011 draft.